right, top 5 bass fishing catches from 2020. Now, 2020 has been a crazy year for a lot of people. It's been unbelievable. Fishing wise, for me, was not a very good year. I had some really crappy events. But before we say sayonara to 2020, there were some good things that happened in 2020 for me on the water. And let's take a look at the top 5 of those fish catches for this year, this crazy 2020 year. We're gonna look at the top 5. And the first one, the very first one, we're gonna start at the very first Elite Series event that we fished down on the St. Johns River, a place that I really like to fish. I ended up finishing second there. And the first day of competition, this right here is what happened. Got the little America flag in the side. I mean, I couldn't have played that any better. All right, so I'm gonna stop that right there. I pitched up against a seawall and I picked up, and I was throwing a Tokyo rig. It was a Tokyo rig with a quiver 6.5. That's what I caught about half or more of my fish on in this event. June bug colored, pitched it up there, lifted up, and I had a bite. And quite frankly, I was not expecting this to happen when it jumped. That's when I said, uh-oh. I said, coming in hot. So there it is, the whole Tokyo rig just jumped up out of the fish's mouth and it lodged into my, look at it, it's on my sweatshirt. Look over there on the right. The Tokyo rig is stuck in my sweatshirt over there on the right. And I picked up this, I think it was 5.4. So this is the first big fish that I caught for the whole year right here. I'm looking at it, the 5.4 in my hand. And listen to the commentary from my marshal, dude. Just an awesome dude. He should start working for Bass because his commentary is like Tommy Sanders. Just check this out.
I'll take care of that 12-inch one. He was up there on the bed, most likely.
Yep. There's that June bug quiver hanging off my arm. Good.
Nice fish. Nice fish.
So he's giving us a little play-by-play. It was up there on the bed, most likely, he says. He knew the whole deal, the whole situation, and just a really nice guy. And actually, for an older gentleman, worked the GoPro very well. Very well. So yeah, this one called out a little one. And I'm taking selfies, I'm taking pictures. That was very cool. Definitely started that tournament off, in my tournament season off the right way. Didn't finish that way, but we started it off the right way. But we go from there up to the St. Lawrence River, from one end of the country to the other, up to the St. Lawrence River. I fished awful the first day. I didn't even weigh on a limit up there, which is embarrassing. But then on day 2, I just went fishing all new water. I only had 4 fish, I'd lost a couple. And then at the end of the day, I really got it going with the spin john. It's a little spy bait, Spro spin john. And right at my last stop, I had like 5 minutes left. I saw this little corner on this point, and I said, man, if there's ever gonna be one, this is gonna be it. And it is on a hat cam, so it's a little different. Let's watch this action here. I threw out there with just a few minutes left, and bam.
There he is. Good one too.
Yeah, he just started pulling drag immediately.
Oh,
Said, yeah, there he is.
Stay on.
Just started pulling drag, and you can kind of see this flat a little bit.
Stay on.
I've got him on a 7.6 cash and spin bait rod. If you don't use a big long rod with a spy bait, you're gonna get absolutely worked. You can see I keep checking the time to make sure I'm not gonna be late. So that's why I keep looking back at the Lowrance units there. And then I see it. This thing weighed like 4.6. It was over 4.5. Look at that big shark. And so I'm rushing this fish way faster than I should be. And by the way, don't ever just grab your line. You just want to pull the line and leave the rod loaded when you're catching smallmouth like this. But I mean, I'm really pressed for time. I didn't know. possibly gonna be late. So I'm really trying to rush this fish here. Got him. And I got him. Got him. Look at that tank.
Freaking day.
Look at that tank. Yeah, see, you can see that is a smoke, that smoke purple spin John right in his mouth. I got it to pliers. I mean, this thing, the gummies are just wedged in this fish's mouth. He was never coming off. Not in a million years. And it actually made a nice finish to a terrible event. It was like whipped cream on top of crap, I'll be honest with you. That tournament was a tough one, but man, knowing that we're going back there in 21, I'm glad I finished 20 with that big one. So I'm thinking now, maybe I can go catch all big ones like that, right? That's how it goes. Is, you know, you birdie the last hole in golf, you want to go play golf the next day, right? No matter what happened in the other 17 holes. So we go from there up north. Now we go down to the Bassmaster Classic, fishing on the final day, in contention to win the tournament. I already had a limit, and this was early in the afternoon. I had time to really call up and get some things going, and I'm jumping around, changing areas. This is in an area I had not fished for the entire event. Like I said, I already had a limit, and then was throwing a chatterbait out there, and I was on Bassmaster Live when this here happened.
This limit for a long time. Here we go.
It's Tommy Sanders, the real Tommy Sanders.
Biggin.
And what happened, I threw that chatterbait along this grass line, and I'm reeling the chatterbait down, and it just went slack. This big fish hit it and was coming with me, so then I leaned into him, and he started running towards me, and I didn't know what I had until he turned his head, and that's when I said biggin right there. And then the big old girl, she just kind of gave up on it. Here, you'll see. When you hear Zona say, "Oh my," that gets your blood going.
Got him.
Wow.
I was so pumped
I'm
up.
talking. Yes. Freaking giant right there, boy. Yes.
That fish was like 6 3/4, I think, something like that, 6 1/2. It was
Yes.
the stud.
That sucker.
You know, and Hank Cherry won the tournament, but if I could have caught
down.
a couple more like this that last day, I would have made it interesting. Made it interesting.
Quiver. Wiggling on the
Yeah, I
back.
had that. That's the fire crawl jackhammer, the infamous fire crawl. I had a
Yes.
missile baits quiver on the back.
That's what I'm talking about.
I was pumped. I was pumped. That was really cool. So we go from the Classic. I ended up finishing 6th there at the Classic. Go from there. Middle of the year, I was throwing hot garbage in most of those tournaments. Then in the last quarter, I started to get things going, and we go down to Santee Cooper. The first day, I had a pretty decent day. I was able to scramble out a decent limit. It was in the top 40, 50. That second, or just outside of the top 40. Then the second day, I had me 3 fish, 3 decent, I had 1 decent one and 2 other ones, and I needed a couple keepers, you know, to make sure I made that last day. And then I had a Missile Baits mini flip, and I'll show you that here in a second, but I had the Missile Baits mini flip. Of course, I was not hitting on all cylinders during the year, so I didn't have my dash cam running. So we didn't get the hook set, which was awesome, but I pitched up onto this undercut bank. I lifted up, my line was going out, and then I set the hook, and to be honest, all hell broke loose.
It's a grind.
Look at that.
Son.
So my buddy John Johnson was my camera guy here. This fish was pulling so hard. Listen. You can hear my line up next to the boat, a 20-pound sunline shooter. That line is still singing up next to the boat. That fish is putting so much tension on the line, crazy. And then she did not want to give me her mouth. But look how I had to grab her. I had to grab her like just a total rook. That's all that she gave me, was just this little bit of her lip. So I just grabbed it, you know, and snatched her and pulled her, and that was.
Oh, God. Oh my God.
If you don't think I'm excited when I catch a big one, and because I knew what this fish meant I'm getting $10,000 because I just made the top 40 guaranteed with this fish, because I knew it was well over 6, actually weighed 714, almost an 8-pounder, and the excitement did not stop with that primal scream that I had.
Holy sh! Oh yes.
Yep.
What a freaking toads, Owen.
Yep.
God, dog.
I'm still excited. I'm excited watching this. Look at the big mouth. I had to close that thing as quick as possible. I wanted to shove it in there and then close it and lock it, and I was not gonna open it up until I knew I was gonna put that fish in a weigh-in bag, because I had one other good one in there. I knew those fish weren't going anywhere, so that's why I had to get that thing in there and lock it in, and then I'm pounding with my man, JJ right here. Bam. Look at this. I'm about to blow a gasket, I'm so excited. I didn't know what to do with myself. I really did.
Brother, yes, brother.
And you know, this excitement is it's the result of so much time and energy preparing and practicing and pre-fishing, and then you go out there in the tournament, and then something good finally happened in a tournament. It was it's relieving now just even talking about it. So that's why that was number 2 for my fish catches of 2020. Probably the most exciting, even more, like my heart was definitely racing more than in the Classic. The Classic probably, you know, it was more on the line. This meant more to me personally. But I gotta tell you, but as we get into the last one, I'm still celebrating at Santee with my buddy JJ.
Brother, yes, brother.
Look at that.
Yes.
So before, and then, but I'm gonna go, number 1 is a little different. We're gonna go back to brownfish. We're gonna go back to smallmouth. This is a fish catch that I will never, ever, ever in my life forget. And I'm so glad I got the whole thing on camera, because we were up there at St. Clair. First day, I didn't have all that good of a day. Caught a number of fish. Second day, I just went fishing new water, and I got into this area, and I was catching a lot of 2 to 2.5 pound smallmouth, just cranking a Little John baby DD, and this is what happened. I just shoved a big chunk of Cliff Bar in my mouth. You know, I'm just out here, you know, wrenching on a bunch of 2 to 2.5 pound smallmouth, and I pulled into another one that felt pretty decent, but then the complete unexpected happened, and you gotta see this to believe it. So I'm out here cranking away out in the middle of St. Clair, and one smokes it, and I think, oh, here's another decent one. Just gonna keep reeling, and something doesn't feel right, but it's still wiggling. And then look at this. I said, what in the world?
Look at this. What in the hell?
Look at that. Look at that right there. See, he smoked that Little John, and I didn't even know whether I should touch it or grab it or what happened. It looked like a ninja had come up out of the underwater with a giant samurai sword and just yacked this thing right up under the gills. But the craziest part is what happens once I go to grab this fish. Check, look at this, watch this.
Oh, look. Bleeding everywhere.
Look at that, squirts.
Oh, Jesus.
Look at that, it's just squirting blood like disgusting. It is crazy. I mean, talk about instantly just happening. Every time that little fish's heart was beating, it was just squirting blood everywhere. It was a mess. So luckily, I already had a limit in the box. 2.5 pounder was my smallest. This fish was probably in that 2 1/4 range. It would not have helped. So I did release the fish completely legally as far as the tournament's concerned. And I promise you, a turtle or another muskie or something came and ate this. So before anybody says anything, this is part of the life cycle. It's what happens.
Bleeding everywhere.
So yeah, he's bleeding
Jesus.
all over the place.
That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. The muskie must have smoked him. Holy cow, that's crazy.
I'm in disbelief. I didn't know what to do. I was in disbelief. Again, I've been fishing where I've seen muskie come up near fish that you have on. I've never seen, I've had people tell me that they've had muskie come up and eat their smallmouth, but I personally have never heard of anybody to where the muskie came up and just took a big swipe out of them like that. I mean, there was not much fish left on that hook. I mean, there was just a little bit. I guess the spine was the only thing that kept that muskie from completely ripping half of that smallmouth just totally off and put it in his belly. But my guess is that that big muskie probably hung around and came back and ate it once I tossed it back in. So that's just kind of the life cycle of things. But that was my #1 fish catch from 2020 in such a crazy year. It was that fish catch that I know I'll never remember. That fish catch will always be very, very vivid in my mind. And really, all 5 of these fish catches are very memorable ones. So, you know, I can't be hating on 2020 too much as far as a fishing is concerned, but I promise you my tournament finishes were nothing to be overly proud about. So I'm going to try to turn that around in 2021, and we'll make you a really, really, really good list for top 5 fish catches for 21. So again, as always, thank you guys for watching.